Hey family, welcome back to the channel here at DTI Information Network. In today's video, I'm going to be going over some of these top banks that I like to use and how you can get qualified to getting into these particular banks. Now, it's important to understand some things when you're going in for personal funding. We're going to be talking about personal funding today. I'm going to show you guys my software and what I use to help my clients and some of my mentees get the funding that they're looking for. There's also some data points and things like that that you're going to also need to know. And I'm going to start sharing with you some of the things that you're going to need to know before you go applying for lending. All right. So I want you to understand that your credit score is like your GPA. Okay. And your credit report is like your report card or your transcript. All right. So it's important that you understand this because just because you may have all A's in gym class and all your electives doesn't mean you have a strong profile. Doesn't mean you really know how to handle math problems. Doesn't mean you know how to handle biology and science and stuff like that. Now, if you have a good, solid profile, it means that you have your electives that you're good at your math, you're good at your biology, you're good at history, you have all that. So to put that in perspective, that's what it's looking like when a lender is looking at your credit report. Okay, they're looking to see how well you can handle credit, how well you've been proven to show that you can handle credit, right? So that's just to put it in context so you can kind of understand what the lender is looking at. Now, before you go in for lending, you also want to make sure you understand what your credit profile looks like, meaning you're not going to want to have more than 4 hard inquiries in a 12-month period. You don't want to show the banks that you look too thirsty and you're just searching everywhere to get credit. That's when you look risky to the banks and they'll deny you, right? The other thing you're going to want to make sure is that you don't have any late payments. You want 100% payment history, at least within 12 months. Some banks will allow you to have it within 6 months, but ideally 12 months and on. The longer that thing goes out, the better, right? No negatives, like no collections or no charge-offs or bankruptcies and things like that on your credit report as well. Once you have all that and you have a solid profile, now you're good to understanding this other point. The next point that you're going to want to know is when you pick whatever bank you're picking, you're going to want to make sure you understand where that bank actually gets your report from, which credit reporting agency they pull from. Now, they can pull from TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian. Now, some banks pull from all three, like Capital One. Some banks may pull from just one. Some banks pull from two. And it also could vary on the region that you're in, just so you know. For instance, Chase. Most of the time, Chase may pull from TransUnion, but in some regions, they'll pull from Experian, or some regions they'll pull from both. So you got to do your homework. Now, the good thing that I'm going to show you guys today is in our software, if you guys choose to use our software or use our services, we have this all mapped out for you. We have the game all figured out. Now, let me go ahead and just kind of show you, because I have my screen up right now. I'm going to kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. So right here, I'm going to show you that if I go here and I put in TransUnion, right, and then I pull personal side. Now, I can pull business or personal, but for the sake of this conversation right now, we're going to go ahead and talk about personal side. I can also screen to see if you have a 740 credit score and up, or if you have a 700 or a 739, or if you have a 680 or 699. I can put that information in here, and it's going to tell me which banks will probably be the bank that I need to get you, right, lending for. So that's why this makes my job so easy. So for instance, here, I know that Chase has these different cards like their Sapphire Preferred, their Freedom Unlimited, their Freedom Flex, even their Southwest Rapid Rewards Premier card. They all pull from TransUnion. But check this out. Over here in the Freedom Unlimited, that's a 0% for 15 months. The Freedom Flex, 0% for 15 months. And the average that they're giving out right now is about $10,000 on the personal side. See how that helps me? So I can actually match what your situation is based upon the software that's given me. Now, if I go down a little further and we want to look at some other banks, I can see that Wells Fargo has a card right here, the Propel American Express, that's going to pull from TransUnion and Equifax with 0% to that's 0% to 12 months. Now, it's good to understand that once again, it's going to be dependent on your region. Okay, so if you're on the East Coast or you're on the West Coast, it can vary. So you have to know, I have to look to see what region you're in to be able to determine that. Now, if we go on, there's some other cards like Fifth Third Bank. Fifth Third Bank, on their personal one, they're going to pull from TransUnion. I can look at some of these other ones. Let's look. I have a ton of different banks. It's not is that there's banks like Co-America that pull from TransUnion also. They have cards that go 0% for 6 months. Then we have cards from US Bank. US Bank pulls from TransUnion on the personal side. They have cards from 0% to 12 months. So, for instance, my client that I had banking with another bank, and that bank was not giving him the lending that he was trying to get approved for. He had a solid credit score. He'd been banking with them for over a few years, and they weren't doing anything for him. He also had a bank account set up with US Bank, but he hadn't really started building out the relationship, but he had already set that account up. So what we did was we had him build out the relationship with that particular bank and move all his money over to that bank and start building out the relationship with that bank. And then we went to apply for their personal card. He got a $20,000 personal card. He set up a business credit, business checking account. He got the business credit card for $25,000. So that is the power of building out your relationships with banks that will actually work with you. If you're banking right now with a bank that is not operating or not giving you the lending products that they have for whatever reason, it's okay to move to another bank that will actually be a little more lenient and help you out. Some of the other banks that you can rock with if you're looking for a bank that pulls from TransUnion, it's going to be like the Chase Bank here. For instance, Chase has some really good products. I'm going to show you one other one that I do like as well that pulls from Chase. See, in our software, you can notice that up here, like I was saying before, if you're in the green tier, that means you have to have a 740 or above to qualify for that particular lending product. And if you're in the blue, it's a 700 or more to qualify. So I'm going to show you some of the other banks that you can actually get some lending with if in that range, right? Second. Okay, so let's take, for instance, this PNC Bank. This PNC Bank right here, they also pull from TransUnion, right? On the personal side, they have 0% for 12 or for 15 months on balance transfers. So if you're carrying some debt from another side, you can transfer it over here. If you have high on that particular bank, move it over here, balance transfer. Now your money that you have to pay back every single month is going to be a lot less. So this is a really good play if you have high utilization on one particular card, moving your money over. So their average here is about 25,000 on this particular card, and they have others, right? So you can see that one is another bank. They also pull from TransUnion, but with Capital One, they pull from all three. So you have to be very careful of that. So let me kind of explain something here to you as well. So when we go on something called a credit run, we want to make sure that we understand which credit reporting agencies the bank pulls from. So say, for instance, we're doing a credit run in January, right? So in January, we're going to go with TransUnion. We're going to take 4 banks that we want to get their credit, their products for in January. So we'll go to banks like I just mentioned, PNC. We'll go to like Navy Federal. We'll also hit up Chase. We'll also hit up, so we'll hit up about 4 different banks that bank with TransUnion. Then we're going to go to the other banks that may bank with Equifax, like KeyBank and some of the others. I can show you in our software. Actually, our software shows it all. So I can show you in our software in just a minute here which banks pull from what. But we're going to go to each one of these different credit reporting agencies, and we're going to get their cards. That way we can get like 12 different cards with only 4 hard inquiries, right? That is very important. So you have to understand where they pull from, because if you have too many hard inquiries, if it makes it look like you're too thirsty and you're too risky to the bank, so they're not going to want to lend to you, right? So we already know that part. But if you understand that they only pull from TransUnion, they're only going to pull your credit report from the TransUnion side. They're not looking at Equifax. They're not looking at Experian. This is all laid out for us in our software here. It will show us exactly what to do. So for instance, I'm going to show you just a second here. So in my software here, I'm going to go and I'm going to type in Equifax, and then it's going to show me everybody that pulls from Equifax. So if I'm looking for only Equifax lenders, I can come here to banks like HSBC, and they also have a 0% 12 months credit card here and a 0% 18 months card on their gold, right? Now, it is in the green, so I know you have to have a 740 or more. But if you come here, Key Bank has cards, and they have a card, and they pull from Equifax, and it's 0% for 6 months. Then if I come here again, then you have TD Bank. TD Bank pulls from Equifax as well. They have a 0% for 15 months. So understanding where each bank pulls from is going to be advantageous for you guys, so that you can make sure that your credit profile is built out perfectly for that particular lender, right? So that's how we do a credit run. We'll go and we'll map out who pulls from what, understand what your data points are, like what your credit score is, how many inquiries you have on your credit report under that credit reporting agency, understanding what your utilization is. You got to make sure your utilization is low as well. And if we have to do some different tactics and strategies to move your utilization around, we'll do that as well to keep you under. If you need some more trade lines, we can get you like authorized users. We can help you with getting an authorized user so that it builds out your credit profile. So those are the kind of different strategies that we use, and we use our software to be able to help us find out what lender you can get approved from. Very important in understanding that. Now, if you want to understand these data points and you don't use our software, you can go to places like ibanknet.com. On ibanknet.com, it's a really great bank if you're looking to find right. And then inside of this particular account, it's going to show you how much money this bank is lending out. It's going to show you what kind of products that they offer, like lines of credit, if that's something that you're looking for. If you're in a certain region, it'll show you the top banks in that particular region based upon how much money they have coming in and how much money they have going out. It shows a ton of information. It'll also show you some of the 0% interest cards, like the ones that I'm showing you here. A lot of this information was research that was taken from places like ibanknet.com. You can always go peer-to-peer as well. There's a company called Credit Boards, creditboards.com. You can actually go to that one and see what other people are saying about the data points that they got approved for them. So if they'll let you know that, hey, I had a 720 credit score and I got approved from a bank because they pulled my Equifax, or they got denied because they had this one. So you can kind of match up, get some information. This is how we research, right? So these are some different companies that you can use. You can use the as well. Facebook has forums as well. You can go to some of these forums and check them out. Go to Reddit. 4 different that you can go do some research in. Now, if you don't want to do the research, that's what we have here. We have mapped out this information for you already, and then you can utilize our services to help you out, right? And then also, if you want a free credit reporting audit, be happy to do that with you as well. Join our free school group community. The link will be in the description below. We'll be happy to contact with us. We'll go over your credit report, see where you're at, see what you may qualify for, see some different things that you have to work on to get it up to where you need to get it so that you can qualify for different lenders. Some instances, we've found people that are ready to go, and we were able to help them get qualified for the different lending products that they were looking for right away. It could be you, right? So you might want to check us out. People inside of our community right now that have a lot more information, they might be able to help you out as well. You don't even necessarily need to speak to us directly, but we're here for you if you need us, all right? So with that being said, the next video we're going to talk about is we're going to be showing you business credit. I'm going to show you the different banks that we like to bank with getting business credit and some of the products that they offer. I'll also show you some data points and some of the different reporting agencies that they use and what you're going to need to be able to qualify to get in to those banks using business credit. All right. So if it's something you're interested in, I highly recommend you check us out tomorrow or the next day to see us that. All right. So next time, peace.